All right, good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this village board meeting to order on Monday, October 2nd, 2023, and ask you if you would all please rise and join the village board in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Baldino,
Here.
Trustee LaBedz,
Here.
Trustee Grasse,
Here.
Trustee Shirley,
Here.
Trustee Schwingbeck,
Here.
Trustee Dunnington,
Here.
Trustee Tinaglia,
Here.
Trustee Bertucci,
Here.
President Hayes.
Here. First item on the agenda is the approval of minutes, and we have two sets to approve tonight from our meetings on September 18, 2023. First are the Committee of the Whole meeting minutes. Any changes or passes? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
I'll move to approve the Committee of the Whole minutes for September 18th, 2023. Second.
Motion by Trustee Grasse, seconded by Trustee LaBedz. Anything from the board? Anything from the audience? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And next we have the village board meeting minutes from the same meeting. Any changes or passes? If not, I'd entertain a motion. Trustee
approval.
Baldino.
Second.
Motion to approve by Trustee Baldino, seconded by Trustee Schwingbeck. Anything from the board? Anything from the audience? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And next we move on to the approval of the accounts payable, and I would call on Trustee Bertucci.
I'll move approval of the warrant register for the check date September 30th, 2023 in the amount of $4,832,791.81.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Bertucci, seconded by Trustee Grasse. Any questions or comments from the board or from the audience? Seeing none, roll call.
Trustee Bertucci,
Yes.
Trustee Grasse,
Yes.
Trustee Tinaglia,
Yes.
Trustee Schwingbeck,
Yes.
Trustee Shirley,
Yes.
Trustee Baldino,
Yes.
Trustee Dunnington,
Yes.
Trustee LaBedz,
Yes.
President Hayes.
Yes. Well, nothing formally under recognitions and presentations, but I do want to take just a minute to formally recognize all those who contributed to the planning and execution of Harmony Fest, featuring the Taste of Arlington this past weekend. What a great way to end the summer season here in the village of Arlington Heights, and what perfect weather that we had. A great crowd on both nights, Friday and Saturday, and we just very much appreciate everybody's involvement and participation, not just our residents, but residents from all over the area. I know we had really big attendance, and we very much appreciate the participation of Avis Mead from our own staff, Diana McCula, Jack, and Public Works Department, the police and fire, you name it, and then the partnership of John Riddler and the Chamber of Commerce, and then all of our businesses who participated in one way or another. We just very much appreciate the opportunity to showcase our downtown and our community in general. I think it turned out very well. So, Mr. Reckless, any comments from you?
Couldn't have said it any better. No, it was the weather committee did a tremendous job this year as well, but a lot of hard work went into it, and it's always gratifying to see a lot of happy faces in the community. So,
All right, thanks, Randy. All right, if nothing further, then we would move on to citizens to be heard, and I have no blue cards.
I don't have
So,
anything.
just to make sure, is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address the board on items not on the agenda? All right, seeing none then, I would move on to old business, and we do have a few items to report out this evening from our Committee of the Whole meeting from earlier tonight. And the first motion was by Trustee LaBedz.
Thank you, Mayor Hayes. I move to concur in the mayor's appointment of Michael O'Connor for appointment to the Zoning Board of Appeals with a term ending April 30th, 2026.
Second.
Motion by Trustee LaBedz, seconded by Trustee Schwingbeck. Any questions or comments from the board or from the audience? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Michael, if you come forward at the podium and just raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, and state your full name,
I, Michael O'Connor,
having been appointed to the Zoning Board of Appeals
having been appointed to the Zoning Board of Appeals
in the village of Arlington Heights
in the Village of Arlington Heights
in the county of Cook,
in the County of Cook,
do solemnly swear and affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office according to the best of my ability.
of the office according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations, Mike. You know you will. Present you with another village logo pin, if you don't still have one that you had before. And if you could just take your oath and please sign it with our village clerk. So congratulations. All right.
Congratulations.
And the next motion was reported up by trustee Bertucci.
I will move to concur in the mayor's appointment of Steve Ramniak for appointment to the Senior Citizens Commission, term ending April 30th, 2026.
Second.
Motion by trustee Bertucci, seconded by trustee Grasse. Any questions or comments from the board? Anything from the audience? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Steve, if you come forward. And just raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, and state your full name.
I, Steve Ramniak,
Having been appointed to the Senior Citizens Commission
having been appointed to the Senior Citizens Commission
in the village of Arlington Heights,
in the village of Arlington Heights,
in the county of Cook,
in the county of Cook,
do solemnly swear and affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office according to the best of my ability.
of the office according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations, Steve. And let me also present you with the village logo pen to wear proudly. And if you could have, just sign your oath with the village clerk. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And last motion by trustee Baldino.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to concur in the mayor's appointment of Pamela McVoy for appointment to the Commission for Citizens with Disabilities with a term ending April 30th, 2026.
Second.
Motion by trustee Baldino, seconded by trustee LaBedz. Any questions or comments from the board or the audience? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So Pam, if you come forward and just raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, and state your full name.
I, Pamela McVoy,
Having been appointed to the Commission for Citizens with Disabilities
having been appointed to the Commission for Citizens with Disabilities
in the village of Arlington Heights,
in the village of Arlington Heights,
in the county of Cook,
in the county of Cook,
do solemnly swear and affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office according to the best of my ability.
of the office according to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations. I have to tell you, I made the mistake of telling Pam that the oath would be the most difficult thing she would have to do while serving on this commission, and she became very nervous about that. And so I sent her a sample oath and everything. And how many times did you rehearse it? Okay. But you did. Yeah. Well, you did very well. You did very well. So let me present you again with the village logo pin to wear proudly, and your oath if you would sign with our village clerk. Congratulations. All right, we do have one other item of business under old business, and that's the Paragon Mechanical amendment to the LUV ordinance 2020-022 and variations. So, Mr. Reckless, you want to start this one off?
Mr. Perkins is going to introduce this topic.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes, I'll just give a brief background on what's happened on this project to date, just a recap to bring everybody up to speed. The property in question is located at the south end of Arlington Heights, at Arlington Heights Road and the I-90 tollway. It's part of the South Arlington Heights Road corridor redevelopment plan. Across the street, we just had a $126 million projects submit their plan commission application to start going through their process. So this is an important gateway to the community. By way of a little bit of history, the property used to be owned by Elk Grove Township. We started discussions with them in 2017 about the potential redevelopment of the property. They eventually sold it, but prior to that, Paragon began parking their trucks on the property without village approvals, without the appropriate zoning for the property. They then moved into the building after they had acquired it, again without getting the village approvals. There were numerous notices that were provided to them, and then finally, towards the end of, actually in 2020, Paragon submitted a plan commission application. So that application was reviewed by the Plan Commission. They were seeking approval for a contractor shop. So a contractor shop allows vehicles and storage of equipment on the property, different to a contractor's office, which is just a typical office which would be permitted on the property. So that application was reviewed, and in March of 2020, the Staff Development Committee recommended denial of the application, feeling it was not consistent with the long-term plan for the South Arlington Heights Road Corridor Plan. The Plan Commission, by a vote of 66-3, recommended approval of the plan with some conditions for a phased landscape approach. So there were two phases, one an initial phase and then a second, a little bit more elaborate phase. The Village Board talked about that in July of 2020, and then by a vote of 5-3, concurred with the Plan Commission recommendation, but added a 2-year time limit for the business. At the time in 2020, Paragon had submitted a concept for redevelopment of the property, although it was very schematic. And so there was a 2-year time period for them to submit their Plan Commission application for redevelopment. We did provide notice to Paragon of the timelines that were coming up with the phased landscaping. They didn't install phase 1, but it really wasn't maintained very well. And then in July of 2022, they submitted a request to seek relief from that condition and from relief from the landscape provisions. So that went back to the Plan Commission in November last year, who recommended denial of the application. And then in December last year, the board talked about this and then asked both village staff and Paragon to try to get together and come up with a concept or a plan that would provide some improved landscaping on the property, that would at least make that corridor be a little improved, because it is an important gateway. So since December of last year, we've been working with Paragon. There have been a number of different plans presented back and forth. So they are seeking kind of a permanent use of the property as the contractor's shop, and they are seeking relief from these conditions. So changing of condition 3, which deals with the landscaping, and then elimination of condition number 8 of the 2020 ordinance that sets forth that 2-year time limit and sunset, and basically states that if they don't submit or that's not approved, then their land use variation would be null and void. So there are at least 3 concepts. There are more that have been presented. So the first one is what the village staff felt met the spirit and intent of what the village board was asking us to do, to come up with a plan that would improve that corridor. And I'll just walk through this concept. For the most part, it is a plan presented by Paragon. They would remove some of the paved areas and elements of the kiddie safety tent that's being abandoned. They would provide some curbing along the entrance, remove some paved area in front in this area, and provide some additional landscaping, adding some landscape islands in these 2 areas north of the building, and then 2 areas south of the building. Creating a one-way circulation southbound around the property allows them to move the curb and the pavement in from where it is today, and provides about a 6-foot area for landscaping right along Arlington Heights Road at this point. They did present a plan that showed landscaping in this area that's highlighted in green, and then all along the southern property line adjacent to the tollway wall and the tollway ramp. And then later withdrew that request, indicating that that was too expensive. Staff is recommending, if we're going to move forward with a plan, to include landscaping in that green area to complete the landscaping right along Arlington Heights Road, and not to do that further interior on the site. This is the Paragon alternate plan that they've said they're willing to do, similar to what I've described, with the exception of they've indicated they would not provide the landscaping in this area, and the pavement would come right up to the property line, right on the south side of their property. And then as an alternate, they've said if they don't get approval, they would remove any equipment inside their buildings and then just operate, as a permitted contractor office, and then they would just do a minimal amount of landscaping along the frontage and not do anything with the old safety town or a movement of the pavement in this area. So there are, we've identified 3 options for the board to consider. One would be to grant the request and eliminate that condition number 8 that set that 2-year sunset provision, but conditioned upon the village's staff recommended alternate plan, that additional landscaping in the corner. And then there are some other conditions dealing with the timeline to complete by May 31st next year, and then that they, Paragon, provide a performance guarantee for the work. The second option would be to concur with the petitioner's request, which is less landscaping, and they've indicated different couple of things. Last year they did indicate in an email they would provide a performance guarantee. More recently they've said they would not. And then the third option would be to deny the request. The site would continue to be non-conforming. There'd be minimal landscaping consistent with what I just described. And then if and when there are any other changes on the property, they would need to comply with the village codes and regulations at that time. This was the Plan Commission recommendation that was tabled last year and their reasons for it. I won't read all of that, but that was their reasoning for it, and this is their recommendation. It's back on the agenda, so that's why it was presented this way. And then this is the kind of revised recommendation in the spirit of trying to come up with some compromise and provide some improvements along the corridor. Staff would recommend that alternate plan with the time limit to install by March 31st, with the requirement for a performance guarantee. And then item 2D, this is required anyway, but we just want to put the petitioner on notice that any future site changes and modifications shall require full compliance with the applicable zoning regulations at that time. So I'd be happy to answer any questions, and I do see the petitioners in the audience here tonight.
Why don't we hear from the petitioner first, Mr. Polka, if you come forward. And I'm going to give the opportunity for the new commissioners to leave the meeting if you'd like. You're certainly welcome to stay, but there's no need for you to stay any longer, so that's totally up to you. So, Mr. Polka.
I thank you for giving me the opportunity to work with the staff and come up with a plan that I think that we were able to work with an architect that was recommended by staff, come up with the plans that we have in front of you. And I think that a lot of it beautifies that corner by eliminating a lot of the asphalt that Tinaglia, you mentioned one of the first times, putting more green space in. We did at first have a portion to the south, but then when we got prices on it, it just drove it out of the budget. And it was like $60,000 more. The current proposed project is $140,000. We just couldn't afford to do that south portion that the staff liked. I liked too, just not feasible at this time.
Okay, you see the staff recommendation, I guess it's up there. Yeah. Do you have any objection to this staff recommendation?
This is the first time I'm seeing it, so approval of the request of modification. So their recommendation is to spend, is the first one, right? Which includes Yeah,
the village's recommended alternative.
right. I don't have the budget for it right now. Unless you wanted to use TIF money or something like that, but I just don't have the budget for it. That's what I told him. I'd love to do it, but
Yeah.
I just don't have the money for it.
Is that the only discrepancy between,
Well,
of us?
his plan that he referenced and his budget included landscaping and pavement removal all the way along here that I'm highlighting, if you can see that. And we're not asking for that. We're just asking for this small corner to be removed. And I think in the plan there were, 8 or 10 and maybe a dozen additional plant materials in that area.
So is that the only bone of contention then?
I
Between-
believe so, yes.
Okay. All right, questions from the board? Trustee Tinaglia.
Thanks, Mayor Hayes. Charles, is there an image here that you can put up that talks about when we were here last time and the drive aisle across the front was too wide and we couldn't get that landscaping buffer in there? Is there anything that we can see here tonight on that, what it was?
You might be able to see on the aerial, well, this aerial's not so good, but yeah, it's a two-way drive aisle that's paved all the way up to the property. And instead of the two-way drive aisle, the solution is a one-way southbound drive aisle. So pulling the pavement about 6 feet from where it is, further west to landscape that area, putting curbing along there. The drive aisle is about 15 feet wide, and then the parking spaces are parallel parking spaces.
And this is what we kind of all talked about at the
Correct.
last time the petitioner was here, right? So
Yeah, we had a
Did we
general
plan
conversation
on
about that.
Is that
Yeah, we're doing a kind of a berm too to help protect against the salt.
right?
When we first planted stuff in there, the salt, it's so close to the road, the salt killed all the plants. So no landscaper, and I've talked to a bunch, will guarantee the life of anything that we plant there. But I think the cumulative idea between the landscape architect and the other landscapers is that if we widen the strip and put the plantings a little further away and a little bit higher, that it'll look nicer, stay healthy, and be protected from the salt.
You have
No one can guarantee that.
Yeah, you have landscapers that are professionals that are going to help you with this when you do it. The one thing I know for sure, if you don't remove all that gravel that's under that asphalt that you take out,
Yeah.
and you just put a little bit of topsoil on, plant those shrubs in there or the grass, it'll burn out in a very short amount of time. So you'll have to make sure that they dig that old material out, put the new fresh material in to hold the water, as opposed to having it just drain down through the granular fill that's under that asphalt right now.
For sure, I don't know anything about landscaping. I got black thumbs, not green thumbs. But the architect that laid it out, I hope that he spelled that out. If not, I'll try to make sure that gets done. The dig is deep.
The landscape, the designer knows this. The installer just has to implement it.
Oh, got it.
Yeah,
got
just
it.
make
Okay.
sure that they're doing their job the right way. I think this is a nice compromise from where you were last time we met in this room, and I'm glad that you're going forward with this. It's regarding the triangular piece at the very southern end down there. I'd love to see that piece. Did you get a price on just that triangular piece, not the whole length along the tollway there?
I did, and it involved asphalt removal, concrete plantings, and no matter how much I asked, I told them, I said, this is going to cause me a big problem. They were adding $40,000 to the price. Why and all that, I don't know, but it was against two other guys, both saying the same thing. So,
Well, I'm on board with the idea of doing what you've got proposed so far. I think it would behoove you and everyone else that if, as time goes, you could find a way to afford to finish it. That piece in the front is going to be left undone, and it will look a little bit awkward if it stays that way forever. It might be something to put in the budget for down the road or something
down
like
the road
that.
for sure.
So thank you for adjusting your plan and thinking about this in a good way. I'm glad we're here today.
All right, other questions? Trustee Schwingbeck.
Thank you, Mayor. Charles, can you put up your proposal again? Because I just want to make 100% sure that what you're proposing, that Mr. Polka, you're agreeing with. So what are you actually, can you bring that up one more time on our screen?
Yes, is it on your screen? It should be on your screen now.
Text.
Whoops. Oh, you want the
Are
text,
you
I'm
going to
sorry.
remove all of that playtime area? Is that included in here? In your proposal, Charles?
So our plan is very consistent with Mr. Polka's plan. So in this kiddie town, there's a whole bunch of little streets for the kids to cycle on. It's decaying, and so under this plan and Mr. Polka's plan, that would be removed. There's also in this area, there's a drive aisle that kind of comes up north, and in this area, and then that would be removed, and then new curbing put in. And then a landscape bed here, which is directly across from the exit ramp from I-90. So that would improve it. Everything else stays, so there's a lot of larger trees and shrubs. So all the ones in good quality would stay. There might be a couple that are dead or dying, and they would need to be removed.
And all the structures are going to come down?
Our understanding is all the little structures would be removed, not the salt dome and the other buildings behind there at this point.
But just all that kid area, and you're okay with that? You're okay taking it all down?
Yeah, and all the asphalt will be changed to grass.
And can you go back to your text again, Charles? So this is all going to be done,
Whoops, sorry.
this is all going to be done by May 31st of next year?
I didn't see any timeline. I have no idea.
All site work and landscape work must be completed no later than May 31st.
Again, this is the first time I'm seeing this.
No, I know, I understand it. I'm just asking, are you okay with this? Because
No.
if we're,
It's not me doing the work, right? I'd have to get the landscape and the people to agree. There's a concrete company, an excavator, landscapers, planting. I have no idea if they can meet that.
okay, well, that's what I'm.
I'll start it right away. Everyone's ready. They all know, but I could tell you probably within 2 days. But you're asking me to make a commitment for them. I don't know, but I will do it as fast as those trades can do it.
Well, that's what we're voting on tonight, though. We're voting on staff's recommendations. So if you don't think you can get it accomplished, or you don't know if you can get it accomplished, we're going to be talking about that. So over the last couple of years, I guess what concerns me is, you know, you came to us a couple of years ago with some beautiful ideas, and they were absolutely beautiful. And I thought, you know, this site is really going to be improved. It's going to look phenomenal. People coming from Elk Grove Village are going to come underneath the expressway, and there's Arlington Heights sitting right there. So if you don't think you can get it done by May 31st, we shouldn't be voting on that if you can't get it done, because that is part of the recommendation.
Well, also, I think the village is recommending the alternative. I think it's saying the alternative. I can't do the alternative right now.
Right.
And as far as the timeline goes,
Can you just walk me through your mindset on why you want to get rid of number 8?
the cost. When you say number 8, what do you mean number 8?
Well, that
plans?
eliminating condition 8, where you want the land use variance to just go on. You don't want an end date. I mean, you've got a piece of property here that is just at the gateway of our village. And I guess I look at this no different than a piece of property in somebody's neighborhood. You know, you want neighbors that are going to keep their property looking nice and reflect the other homes in the neighborhood. And when you've got a house in a neighborhood that's fallen apart and dilapidated, which we do, you can go around Arlington Heights and you'll find a neighbor that's not keeping up their property, and it reflects on every other homeowner in that area. And I just looked at your plan when you came to us a couple of years ago, and you know, when I put the motion on the floor, I said, boy, you are really going to make the gateway of our community from the south look phenomenal. And you
Yeah.
had committed to doing that in 2 years. And it just by the way everything's worded, I'm just getting the impression that you don't ever want to do that.
So you made that comment last time I was
did.
here, and it took me by surprise. I had to think about it. If you go back, and I did go back to the first meeting, when I was at the first meeting, I made no promise to that's what I was going to do. The staff had asked me, what's my long-term vision? I was in front of you during COVID the first time to ask to move in as is and showed you this is a vision. This is what I ultimately wanted. And it quickly changed into saying, well, this is what we want.
Right.
That's a huge project. I mean, you could say you want it, and I could say I want it too, but it has to get funded. And you wanted it to be funded in 2 years. It was a vision. And I didn't agree to say that that's what it was due. That's what it was imposed on me at the end of that first meeting. Did I want that? Did I want to do that? Did I create that for a reason, for a dream? Yeah, absolutely. Has this process been very difficult? 100%. Do I think I would go through this process like again? It's tiring. It's hard. It is very, very hard. It's hard enough to fund it, to make a dream come alive and make that possible. I live in Arlington Heights. You know, I understand about the community.
Right.
And I want to build beautiful things, and I want to have the neighborhood look good, and I'm excited to make it look good. And I mean, I would have loved to have built that. I stared at that billboard. We have a billboard inside of our office of that building, and I stared at it 30 minutes before I came here, for 30 minutes. But that I wasn't ready for that. I never said I was. Staff asked what the long-term plan was, and that's what it was. But when I came here that first time, I was told, do it right away, do it in 2 years. I wasn't ready for that. We need to move in and just say that, and move in, make it look good. I get it. As Mr. Reckless said once before, when new people move in, that's the opportunity to beautify it, to make it look good, and I understand that. And so here we are today. I'm going to put over $100,000 into making that property look better, and we already make it look better. I did. I parked trucks in there when I first got there because I just didn't know. I bought it. I thought I could just park a truck there. I found out no trucks park on the front right now. No trucks park on the property right now. You know, we follow the rules. I get making it look good. I get make the community look good. You know, and so I'm excited to do the landscape, and we'll see what the future holds.
Yeah, and I know you want to do that. I just know over the last couple of years, as we've been discussing this, that paragraph there where, you know, all site work and landscape work must be completed no later than May 31st. I'm not thinking that's going to happen.
I mean, I don't know. There's a team of guys that have been waiting to do this. They were here last time. You know, I can't speak for, you know, the concrete company, the asphalt company, the planting company. I can't speak of a timeline without them here. They're the ones doing it. Am I ready to write the check right now? Yeah, sure. But you're asking me to say that these guys are going to gather together. You know, I don't do concrete, but I think we're approaching a time where concrete can't be done because we're getting into winter. You know, but I think May 31st, 2024 isn't unreasonable. I'm not saying that that's totally unreasonable. I just want to be perfectly transparent. These aren't my companies. And you're asking me to commit to a 1 year deadline, less than 1 year.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll do my best and it'll get done. But to what date? I don't know. I don't know. You know, I can't imagine. You know, maybe it'll be June of 24. I don't know. I mean, Jim probably knows better as he's more into these things of how long something like this would take. There won't be a delay on my behalf.
All right. Trustee Bertucci, did you have a question?
Yeah, you know, just kind of, again, with the clarification to see that everybody's on the same page. So the eliminated in condition 8 is this idea that within 2 years of ordinance approval, the petitioner shall submit a complete plan commission application redevelopment plan for the property. Is that what we're referring to, Charles?
Yes, that's correct, trustee.
So that will not need to be done
Correct,
on your, okay.
under this scenario.
So we got that done. Okay, condition number 3 shall be modified to require the petitioner to construct and complete the site modifications and landscaping as depicted in the village recommended alternatives. So if we're, I'm also speaking to some of these points as I understand where trustee Schwingbeck was. So that condition that you took off that south end, so now we're just talking about that corner.
Correct. Our feeling is, if we don't complete the landscaping along the frontage of Arlington Heights Road, we really haven't, fully accomplished improving that corridor for this site.
Right.
There's lots of the rest of the site that we've said, okay, we'll let it go. Don't remove pavement further into the site. Don't put the landscape islands in the back of the site. Just leave that be. But, we felt pretty strongly, that entrance right along Arlington Heights Road, that's what, thousands of vehicles every day see and will continue to see until the site is redeveloped with something else. So we felt very strongly about that. Also, the May 31st date, we're happy to, consider some additional extension language at the discretion of the manager, but that is a date that was in the packet last year with the village board, and there was a memo in December that talked about May 31st, and there were emails from November last year between my staff and Mr. Polka that talked about May 31st. So, it has been talked about. I'm sorry Mr. Polka wasn't aware of it until tonight under this scenario, but it's not like a date that we just pulled out of the hat.
Okay. So A and B there's some agreements, it's just that it appears as if it's a timeline thing. So, Mr. Polka, you had mentioned for B, if that was the whole discussion with trustee Schwingbeck, that it's just, I'm going to do it, I will be doing it in a timely manner, May 31st. The village might be willing to adjust that. So I want to go back to A, and we're kind of in the same situation. I thought I heard you say, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, so you're going to have to correct me if I'm wrong, that you're willing to do that corner piece, but you just you don't have the funding right now to do it. And so it's a matter of needing more time to put more funding together. Am I correct?
I don't have the funding right now for it, and I don't want any part of this to hinge on something future. Listen, I would love to continue moving on, but I've owned this thing for a long time now, and this whole process has put everything in a stalemate. It's either I'm putting over $100,000 into landscaping. I'm doing a lot.
But this is a sticking point because
But the alternative is to do a lot less and to move my stuff out. You have to understand that, like, whether I put the money into landscape and make it look beautiful, or whether I put the money into having a storage for some filters that I have, to me, it's all, business. It's the same thing. I can't make money up here, and I can't have this go on any further. It's detrimental to my business, to employees, everything, just not knowing where we stand.
Okay. So we have the B might be flexible in the date. We have A as a problem, it appears, and that you're saying, and the staff is recommending that it get done. I do understand what the staff is saying. Across the street to the east is a whole new large gateway project. Charles, what's the value of that project going up? Do you have an idea?
Just phase 1 is $126 million.
Right. So I mean, the beautification across the street from you is going to be starting, and I'm not, what I'm trying to get you to is if you can say, let's put it, and I'm not saying it's a hard fast date, but within a year, within 2 years, something to do that corner piece, because we do need to keep that as also part of a beautification of a gateway into town. So there, at some point in time, there's got to be a compromise there. And now I also heard that there's conflict, or maybe I wasn't hearing it correctly, to provide a performance guarantee for completion of the work. The staff is recommending that and wants to see that done. Do you agree with that?
To bond out my own work on property? No.
Is that what it would require, Charles, is a performance guarantee would be the process of bonding?
So it could be a cash bond or a letter of credit, and the code does require a 30% cash bond at the time of issuance of a permit for these kind of improvements on private property.
Mm-hmm.
It is refundable when the improvement's completed.
Sure. And are you saying?
I'm not bonding on work on my own property for myself.
Okay, so we have A and C. You guys are not on the same page there. And that, I would imagine D, you tell me, any and all future site changes and modifications shall require full compliance with all applicable zoning regulations.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're A and C, we are not on the same page, and just to tell, so the mayor understands where I'm at. I mean, I do agree with the staff, and I would be voting with the staff, but I'd be willing to put in there somehow and give you some leeway to get some of these things done. But, I understand completely where the staff is coming from.
When we met with the staff, as requested by you, none of that south was discussed. And the architect put it in there and it looked nice, and I was like, great. It's just a matter of funding, man. It's just a matter of overall cost, you know. That's
Okay, that's all I have, Mayor.
Okay,
Thank you.
Trustee Shirley.
Yeah, Charles, is this in the TIF district?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And so is there a comprehensive plan or a concept plan for that TIF district that includes the $126 million project across the street for what this site we would like to see there? That's not mechanical contractor's office. I'm just curious, like, what is the goal? If it's so important to us to have this to be a gateway, where are we as far as TIF assistance or something? I mean, is this supposed to be just like passive? Is it supposed to be greenery? Is it supposed to be a big welcome to Arlington Heights sign? What in the grand scheme of things is the plan for this corner parcel that to me seems kind of tricky?
Yeah, so this is an extract from the South Arlington Heights Road plan that talks about this triangle, and I think this was adopted by the board in 2018. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that's correct. So it talks about, key development standards for the property, commercial uses. You could have, multiple floors or stories on the property. Enhanced landscaping, which, we're talking about kind of a minimal approach to improving the landscaping tonight. Improving sidewalks, we're not at that point yet because that would entail full redevelopment of the property to get, an 8-foot walkway and then, look at how that could get under the tollway. So those are some of the, development parameters from the plan itself.
Okay. So what we're asking of this petitioner or this business owner is just to take some baby steps towards what our ultimate vision is for that property. Is that?
Yes, I mean, it's pretty consistent with how we apply the code on other situations when there's an old site and somebody buys it and they come forward and they want to, improve it. We take that as an opportunity and they, improve their properties as part of their redevelopment plan. There's a number of examples that we kind of walked through December last year on some examples like that. And so this is, a similar situation.
Okay, thank you.
Trustee Grasse.
Thank you. I had just a couple of comments I wanted to share and maybe a question. You said you live in Arlington Heights and your business here is in Arlington Heights. And in my work, I travel in a lot of different areas and I see a lot of different communities that don't have a landscape plan that businesses and residences, agree to. And that's part of what makes our community uniquely special and wonderful. And I hear your pain and the cost and issues with that. I think I also do agree with what the staff is recommending. It sounds like there are some compromises, especially you're not having to do that longer length along the expressway and just the corner. And it sounds to me like the date is a concern that probably could be remedied once you speak to your contractors who will be doing that. And I guess I'm looking at all of this and thinking, what if every business took the approach you're taking? Our community would look very different. But yet I also do hear your concern with the money piece of it, but it sounds like we've been able to come to some compromises, you and the staff, and in some things that it's really about asking you to do what we ask all businesses to do also. And I sure would be willing to be flexible with the date once you talk to your staff, if that could help. And it sounds like some of the cost you're thinking about no longer includes that longer, am I hearing that correctly? No longer includes that longer area? Okay, so it's really just now the corner.
We don't own that, so there's nothing we could have done. So what, I know that he mentioned that, but that's actually tollway property. So there's nothing we could have done along the actual tollway. But at one of my presentations, I did post pictures of everything up and down Arlington Heights Road.
Mm-hmm. I remember.
Our plan puts a lot more as it stands right now than most. I had a presentation where I showed every single building up and down Arlington Heights Road, and they just did not do as much as far as landscape on the road frontage as we're doing. So I hear what you're saying. Community has to look good, and their job, and I realize it now and I appreciate it, is to help people like me to see, hey, this is what's going to look good for the community. And I'm coming to the table with a pretty big offering saying, yeah, okay, I get it, and here's what I'm willing to do. And that's a lot. It already is a lot. I can't commit to something that would put the business in jeopardy. That's all.
Trustee LaBedz.
Thank you. I have a couple of questions I think maybe Charles or maybe Mr. Polka can answer. I just want to be sure that this staff recommended project or proposal does include the one-way drive around the building and the relocation of the handicap space to the north of the building. It was parallel on the east side, but the recommendation.
Totally on the same page with handicap. That wasn't an issue at all.
Okay, I just
did
wanted
see
to.
the circles that I think you saw too.
Yeah.
But.
And I just want to make sure that I understand that.
100%.
That part.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
We will make accommodations for handicap.
Great.
110% without fail.
That's important.
100%.
So back to the proposal, I too am willing to consider an adjustment to the date, certainly if a good faith effort is being made to make the improvements that have been discussed. But I would think too that whoever you work with is probably used to working with businesses that also have some kind of a date. So they should be able to work with you or at least give you a reasonable alternative.
I think for the proposed plan that we have,
That's-
I'm sorry. Today, even though they probably sent it to me, right, as Charles indicated, but today's the first time I'm actually looking at a date thinking I have to meet that. It doesn't sound unreasonable, but I'm just being honest that I don't control all the different trades.
I understand. But I also know that having, Mr. Recklaus, you look like you. When I'm done? Okay. That when working with other projects, there have been times when there has been a date as part of the approval of the project, and there have been good faith reasons that could not be met, and so an extension was allowed. So, that's certainly something that I am open to. And then the other question that I have is about the performance guarantee or bond, and I think this might be more for Mr. Perkins. When we approve our warrant registers, there's an awful lot of bond refunds that I see on there. Is it typical for even a homeowner's project to have some kind of a bond for that project?
Yeah, for most projects, there is a performance bond. It's in the code. Even though it's spelled out here, we probably didn't need to spell it out here. So they would be required when they come in for a permit for the pavement removal and the landscaping, they would be required to post that 30% bond. That's required. We're just saying provide it now prior to the ordinance adoption. That's the only difference. The board could say, at the time of permit, we would be fine with that. But, to not provide that, they would need a variation from Chapter 28 to not provide the performance bond, and I cannot think of a situation where that's been done before.
Okay, so I just want to make clear that this is part of the procedures
So
that we have.
then my apologies. If it's part of the normal procedures, no problem, then I have no problem with it. But what I'm used to in bonds is that when we do work, we bond our work. When we do work for government, we bond that work. So we've built houses in Arlington Heights, and whatever it is that you're saying is part of that code, we're more than happy to do. And maybe I'm just understanding it differently than what I'm used to on my end. So
Perhaps.
if it's part of the code and it's normal procedure, then no problem. Then
Okay.
done. But I would prefer it to be part of the permitting process and nothing. I don't know why it would have to be something outside, or why wouldn't it just be part of the normal permitting process? Why something different?
We suggested prior to adoption of the ordinance because in conversations, a year ago you said you would provide it, and then more recently you said you wouldn't. So we just wanted to get it cleared up one way or another. And we're having that conversation now. So, it's at the discretion of the board to add additional restrictions or leave it, as it is with the code that, gets collected at the time of issuance of a permit.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have.
Trustee Tinaglia.
Thanks,
Oh,
Mayor.
I'm sorry, Mr. Eckles had something.
I was just going to make a couple of quick points. And obviously we can't speak to whether or not Mr. Polka read the email, but there was an email that went out to him on September 5th that included this information. The other thing is I think it doesn't have to be that complicated. I think you cannot have a requirement that's a condition of a variation. You can't have a requirement that doesn't have a date that requirement must be completed by. Otherwise, it is not a requirement. And if there isn't something like a performance bond that covers it, again, it's not really a requirement because we don't have a mechanism to enforce it. Obviously, if the board, wants to be flexible and wants to say that all site work and landscape work must be completed no later than May 31st, 2024, unless extended by the village manager or something like that, that's something that the board has done before. And again, we would, as Trustee LaBedz says, be looking at good faith effort or a reason why it reasonably couldn't be done by that date. If there was a weather issue or, something, supply chain issues like we've seen in past projects, something of that nature, we always could give consideration. But I just wanted to make that point that, you really do, you have to have some kind of deadline. Otherwise, it just is not a requirement.
Okay, Trustee Tinaglia.
Thanks, Mayor Hayes. So the relinquishing or eliminating condition 8, I mean, you understand that's a pretty big compromise, right? I mean, and
I don't know what you guys are referring to relinquishing 8. I'm sorry.
Well, if you had to do this the way everybody else has to do this for every other project that gets built here, there's a process of going through different boards and commissions and hearings, and one of them would have been the design commission for these kinds of things and the building design, and then the plan commission for landscaping and parking and all that. And if I mean, you have to understand, you have to agree with me that that's a big compromise, that we're telling you, all right, you don't have to go through all that because you're there already and you're doing what you're doing. Agree?
It's not, I think it's a little more simple than that. I have a contractor's office. I own a building and a zone for a contractor's office. The staff said that it's a shop. Why? I still don't know. And when the last mayor was up here, she couldn't figure that out on my first property, why they said shop rather than office. But at the end of the day, I wanted to build something bigger in Arlington Heights. I saw it as a gateway. I was excited to do that, but I
guess what I'm asking you is, do you really want to go through that headache?
What headache?
Going through that process?
What process?
What Condition 8 is telling you to go through?
I'm not doing Condition 8.
What am I missing here, Charles?
I don't think you're missing anything.
So I'm trying to make you understand that everybody in this room, staff included, and all of us up here are trying to help you get to where you want to go in a reasonable way, a phrase I used earlier tonight. And what I feel like, I don't know that you're recognizing that. I don't know that you're hearing us loud and clear about some of these things. And when it comes to omitting landscape islands in the rear of the parking area and helping you not have to waste, I'm not going to use the word waste, not have to spend money on things that aren't necessarily obvious and helpful to your business, and maybe not even obvious to the passerby, but given those kinds of, compromises, we do want you to do these couple of things. I mean, are you getting that?
So, number 8, you're talking about number 8, where
Well, I'm just talking about globally right now. This whole reason we're here today, because this has been going on for, 4 years now? How many years?
At least 3.5.
And you don't need any more of this. None of us need any more of this.
Right.
We're trying to get this done. And it ain't for me, okay? It's for you.
Wow.
We're trying to get this done.
Yeah, there's.
And all I'm asking you is, I want you to be cognizant. I want you to be able to recognize what you're seeing here tonight. And so I'm going to suggest this. I'm going to suggest that you leave it at May 31st. And you ask for this vote here tonight because you can do this by May 31st. There is no group of professionals out there that can't get this done by May 31st next year, and you know that. You have good people working for you, you'll get it done. If you have a bunch of schleps who don't know what they're doing, your landscaping is going to die, and it'll be a joke and a half.
I would agree with you that I could probably get it done by
You
May
can.
31st, 24, but I'm not bonding it out. I will not bond it out.
But
the
you
day
are.
I walk out the door.
No, but
I'll
you
do
are,
the norm-
because that's part of the code and it's part of
I
the,
will do it with the permit.
it's the same thing. It's the same thing. You're mixing up words and processes, and I'm trying to help you get past that.
Okay.
Okay? People are trying to help you get this done, and if I feel like you're fighting for no reason. It's been a long road, man. Get through it, be done. And I'm going to suggest that you accept these things and be grateful of them, honestly, and just get it done. I'm still concerned with the one triangular piece down there because I, like Charles, I'd like to see that done, but I don't want to handcuff you to have it done today or even necessarily by May 31st. So there might be some way for you to get that done with help somehow else, whether that's through a zero interest loan from the village or something through the TIF or whatever. But that little triangle has to get done at some point. And I don't think it needs to be fabulous. It just needs to be okay. It just shouldn't be all asphalt because it'll stay that way until you sell the building for the next time someone comes and tears it down and puts up the 7-story building there that might want to be there someday. So that's my suggestion, and I think that's where you should go.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, we've kind of talked in circles a little bit, and so I would like to bring this to a conclusion. We have other items on the agenda. So we do have a staff recommendation, and I would certainly entertain a motion. Is there a motion?
I will make a motion
Okay.
to approve the Staff Development Committee recommendations to amend ordinance 20-022 as follows. Items 1 and 2, do I have to, Mr. Passman, read them all? Items 1 and 2 with the sub-items.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by trustee LaBedz, seconded by trustee Grasse. Any further questions or comments from the board? Trustee Schwingbeck.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to let you know, I like staff's recommendation. I agree with their recommendation. I'm not going to vote in favor of it because I honestly don't believe you're going to follow through with it. And that's why I'm going to vote no. Thank you.
Anything else from the board? Trustee Grasse.
Yes, I would like to move to amend 2B to add unless extended by village manager.
Is there a motion in favor of that amendment?
I get a second?
A second.
Yes,
I'm sorry,
Second.
a second in favor of the amendment. By
Second.
trustee Dunnington. All right, discussion on the amendment.
I just would like to add that amended piece in there, just to show in good faith that sometimes dates might not work, but allow that to be in there for our village manager to work with you, just if there are a few days or a few weeks difference that comes in.
Thank you.
Okay. Any further, trustee Bertucci?
That was a good amendment that trustee Grasse presented, except that we still have C, 2C, and I like trustee Schwingbeck I'm concerned that if that's a sticking point, that we're only going to create conflict between staff and the petitioner going forward. So I would be in.
Can we clarify what it means by them bonding it?
I think it was already clear. That's part of our code.
So then I have no problem then doing it.
Right, you already said that.
Right. I have no problem doing it. If it's just a part of the code, then I have no problem doing it. I thought it was something different.
Mr. Passman, did you have something?
I think where there is a discrepancy, and just to have this out there, the code requires payment of the 30% bond or guarantee at the time of pulling a building permit. As written, condition 2C would require the performance guarantee to be provided before this board adopts an ordinance, which could be as soon as 2 weeks. So to me, the question is whether the board would like to have the bond in hand, or the security, I should say, in hand, before voting 2 weeks from tonight, assuming that the board directs that this evening. It is, and I would also say, although this subject, trustee Bertucci has raised it, it's not subject of trustee Grasse's motion to amend, but 2C was part of the main motion that was moved and seconded.
Yeah.
So
And I
that's still on the
understand your
floor, so I
concern
should
that I'm
back
not going
off
to get
on
it
that.
done, but believe me, no one wants to be not here again more than me. If I'm told to do it by May 31st, 24, with some grace that I talk to the manager, if something unforeseen happens, then trust me, we're going to get it done. I'm not trying to be here. I'm not trying to have gone 4 years in doing this.
All right, we understand. All right. We
If
have any other, Mr. Passman?
If I may suggest, the motion to amend that's on the floor concerns only 2B. I would recommend the board decide whether that motion to amend should be approved, which is to say whether the main motion should be amended, not whether you're approving the whole package.
Right.
And then if the board so sees fit, you could entertain another motion to amend concerning 2C.
Right, right.
Fair enough.
Right, any further discussion on the amendment to the motion? Anything from the audience on that? All right, let's take a voice vote on the amendment. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Opposed?
All right, one no by trustee Schwingbeck. So we're back to discussion of the main motion as amended. Any further questions, trustee Baldino?
Yeah, so I have the same concern about 2C. The petitioner has already said that he's not going to comply with 2C. So if this is going to go forward, in my opinion, I think we need to amend it again to say that the bond be issued at the time of issuance of the permit.
Is that a motion?
I can make it a motion.
All right. Is there a second to that motion?
Can you repeat that, please?
So this staff recommendation requires the petitioner to put the security up now as a part of us passing this ordinance. The village ordinance requires the bond to be issued at the time of the permit. The petitioner's already said that he's not going to comply with Part 2C. And so I'm offering an amendment to say, okay, let's just comply with village ordinance and get the bond at the time of the permit.
I just wanted to clarify that, and I'll second that.
My motion.
Yes.
Would the,
My amendment.
just for point of clarification, would the amendment be just to eliminate 2C?
No,
No, to have it at the time of the
they
permit.
could do at the time of permit.
Okay.
Splitting hairs, I get it, but
All right, we have a motion by trustee Baldino, seconded by trustee Grasse. Discussion on the amendment to the motion.
Was there a second to it?
Trustee Grasse.
I'm sorry, thank you.
I just have one question of clarification with this. This really is just saying out loud what is already in place, correct?
True, and sometimes there's a reason for that.
I understand that. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's my understanding is the amendment proposed by trustee Baldino reverts 2C back more or less to what the code states today.
It's just saying it again in this
Yes.
piece here. I understand. Perfect.
That's correct.
that's correct.
Any further discussion from the board on the amendment? Anything from the audience? All those in favor of the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No. Opposed.
Trustee Schwingbeck. Okay, now we're back to the main motion as amended twice. Any further discussion on that? Anything from the audience on the motion as amended?
So, can I just make a suggestion, as Tinaglia suggested that, and the staff wanted that south portion done, that small south portion. Maybe you give me just another 2 years on that one. So the first one that I propose is done by May 31st, 2024, and then you say, within another 2 years that I do that south portion. And maybe that makes everybody happy and helps me better to finance the whole thing.
It doesn't make me happy. So I'm not willing to do that. Anybody else? Okay. We have a motion and a second as amended. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed.
One no by trustee Schwingbeck. So that will be the motion.
And Mayor, we will prepare an ordinance to that effect that will be on your agenda for the October 16th meeting. That would be the final vote.
Okay, sounds good. All right, thank you, Mr. Polka.
Thank you.
All right, there's no other old business, and so we'll move on to the consent agenda. Any members of the board wish to remove an item on the consent agenda? Any members of the audience wish to remove an item on the consent agenda? Any members of the board wish to vote no or pass on any items on the consent agenda? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
Move approval of the consent agenda as listed.
Second.
Motion by trustee Baldino, seconded by trustee Schwingbeck. Roll call.
Trustee Baldino?
Yes.
Trustee Schwingbeck?
Yes.
Trustee LaBedz?
Yes.
Trustee Shirley?
Yes.
Trustee Bertucci?
Yes.
Trustee Grasse?
Yes.
Trustee Tinaglia?
Yes.
Trustee Dunnington?
Yes.
President Hayes?
Yes. We move on then to new business, and we do have 2 items to consider tonight. The first is a addition to Patton School Gym located at 1616 North Patton Avenue, and I'd first like to call on trustee Dunnington.
I'm going to recuse myself from this item since I'm a employee of District 25.
Okay. So the petitioner is present. Ryan, thank you for being here, and sorry for the delay.
No problem.
But I know you'll be very efficient as you always are, so.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm Ryan Schultz, Director of Facilities Management for Arlington Heights School District 25. Back this evening to present just on the Patton Gym expansion. As you note, we were here previously for the addition of the classroom, which is approved, and we're actually starting to break ground on that portion of the project already. But this portion of the project is solely related to the gym expansion. That is not primarily related to the kindergarten program with Arlington Heights. It's primarily driven by an expansion in hours in the PE program for District 25. So when that would be implemented, or if that is chosen to be implemented, we'll need to have additional PE space in our school to support 2 sections of PE being run at one time in the gym. Currently, it's a single station gymnasium, so we're unable to run 2 classes in that space at one time. This is one of our last small remaining gyms left in the district. The only other remaining one is Greenbrier, but Greenbrier has a smaller enrollment, so we don't anticipate a need for an expanded gym at that site. So again, primarily looking just to add a second gym space bay here at the Patton site to help reinforce the curriculum for District 25. Just going through some of the ownership and notifications that we went through, just as a reference, all the meetings that we went through, the notification requirements we have met. So we're here tonight to present on the proposal for the gym expansion. This is again, a summary of the requested action. I'm not going to go through this right now, but again, this is the recommended action by the village staff that we're looking to have approval for tonight. Just to orient you on the site, again, the purple kind of pinkish hashed areas where the new addition, classroom addition will be going. The gym expansion will be going to the south, kind of southwest of the existing gym. So it's really just extending it down to the southwest side of the corner of the site. With the previous proposed part of the project, we already had the stormwater requirements included in the project. So we're not looking for any additional stormwater. That was already included in the project. So we're working with village staff and engineering to have that all finalized for the overall project. But that was, again, already approved. We are looking to change the landscape screening a little bit along that parking lot. I think before we had some plants that were not meeting the code because I think they lost their leaves. So we're looking for year-round coverage of that parking lot with the shrubbery along that edge of the parking lot as well. So again, essentially we're taking the gym that we have now, expanding another bay, so it's essentially doubling the size of that gym. So the footprint is very similar to what it is now. Again, just adding another section over to the side. Here it is in the floor plan format. The yellow area is the expansion. So again, you can see it's kind of a mirror image. I do want to point out this is a little bit different than what we would normally do in the gym due to site constraints. We normally would have the yellow box underneath the gray box, and by doing that, we would have more of a competition size court. Again, more for elementary and middle school competitions. We could have a basketball court in that area that would allow some space, but due to site constraints, we're really just expanding this gym to have another bay, another section. So we won't see many weekend or night activities at this gym because of that, because it's really going to be only be able to use for practice for this gym. So we won't be able to run, again, AHYBA or some of the other youth programs, competition programs at this gym due to that configuration. I do have a slide a little bit later. It'll make it more clear on how that configuration is different than most of our elementary gyms. Here's a rendering looking at it from the south. The first one is looking at it from the south, and the other side is kind of looking at it from around the corner, a little bit more to the west and north. Again, you can see the classroom addition on the lower one, looking back at the addition, and then the upper rendering shows the stone coping, the limestone coping, and some clear story upper windows that we like to put into our spaces to get some light, natural light into the space. Here are, again, are just the elevations in 2D format of the addition as well, just showing the finishes. The brick will again be made to match the existing building. The limestone kind of carries through some of the aesthetics of the existing building. And there's also a brick band that goes around the building right now that we'll be incorporating into this gym expansion as well. Again, I just want to point out this is the enrollment projection that we've been using. We're not anticipating any enrollment projection changes that we've previously presented. So again, this is primarily driven on a curriculum change and no enrollment changes to the school. So I just want to point that out. These are the same enrollment projections that we used for the previous edition and that we've been using for a while now for these projects. Traffic and parking, again, that's part of the recommendation this evening, is that we would have a variation from having to do another traffic study, because again, we just did one for the expansion program, so we're not anticipating any parking changes or additional staffing needs, or that would impact the overall site parking or logistics of the site. The parking lots will remain in their same configuration, but again, have already been reviewed with the expansion program. So we're looking for a variation on an additional parking study, just because we feel that those items have already been addressed in the previous projects. With the parking lot, again, this is the parking study that was completed before, just showing that we have 75 parking spaces on site. That meets the village ordinance of 66 parking spaces on site. We may have an itinerant staff that would come in to help teach PE. We don't know that for sure yet, but we may have an itinerant PE teacher that would come in that would be parking on site. So that number might go up to that we would need 67 spaces. But again, we're well within the ordinance as well. Right now, there are no buses at this site. Again, as I discussed previously, the storm trap is included in the previous project of the site, so the storm trap will be included for stormwater management. Again, that's being reviewed by the village engineering department and MWRD. The calculations were taken into account at that time to include a gym. We were kind of starting to talk about the gym expansion and knew that it was a potential down the road, so we decided that with the capital spend that we were putting in at that time, it was the most advantageous to have that in with the original project that was already approved. Those are all the information that I have, and I would be open to any questions that you have once you have them.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Perkins, do you have anything?
I'll just be happy to answer any questions. I think this was pretty straightforward, and both staff and the Plan Commission recommended approval.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. Seems very straightforward, a great project, and I know the students will be very happy to see this. What's the completion date again?
This will be for the fall of 2024, so in August sometime of 24, we'll be looking to have that gym opened as well with the classroom spaces.
Okay, sounds good. Questions from the board? Trustee LaBedz.
Just I guess a couple questions. One is probably a Dr. Bine question, and that has to do with, so there's a change in the state law as to what the definition of physical education is? Is that what my understanding from the Plan Commission
Yeah,
hearings?
exactly. It's always been, state law has always required 3 sessions of PE a week for a class. But school districts have been able to apply for a waiver if we have an extra recess. So that's what District 25 has had in place. Starting this year, that waiver is no longer offered. So we have to move from 2 periods of PE for every class to 3 periods a week of PE for every class, including the expanded kindergarten that we'll add next year.
Okay, that makes sense. And then the one other thing that I read in the Plan Commission minutes, excuse me, and that was a concern by a neighbor in terms of the size, and it was more that
Yes.
it's the,
So we've been working with that neighbor, and I will try to point that out, I believe. Okay. So it's the property where the white box kind of cuts up near our drive aisle. It's the property right adjacent there. So you'll see 3 trees on the left side of that property, and then you'll see 1 tree up near our drive aisle. That is the neighbor, yes, exactly. So it's that property right there. Their initial concern was that their view was going to be of the grass area behind their home out in our field would be obstructed. We've reviewed this with them. We feel that the main concern right now is the wall of the existing gym is what they can see the most. So we're going to work with them to provide some additional screening along the fence line on our side of the property to help screen that, because we believe that the existing gym is what they're seeing the most of, to be honest, from taking a look at it with them. So we've agreed to explore that and implement some things with their discussion and take that into account.
okay, well, I appreciate that very much. Thank you. That's all I had.
Okay, anything else from the board? Trustee Bertucci.
And obviously, you agree with all the conditions as set forth. There's the 3 conditions. So with that being said, I will move approval of the staff recommendation. And Hart, do I need to read out the whole staff recommendation
No,
in the staff report?
Not if you're comfortable with it as written, then what you've said is already sufficient.
I am comfortable as written.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Bertucci, second by Trustee Schwingbeck. Any questions or comments from the board on the motion? Anything from the audience? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very
And
much.
continued good luck during the construction season.
Thank you.
All right, we have one other item under new business, and that's an ordinance approving a First Amendment to the lease agreement with Sri Neelkanth, Inc. Mr. Ecklouse.
I can take this one. A relatively straightforward item. Mr. Patel, who's been our tenant, has run the newsstand at our train station for the last several years. We approved a lease agreement with him in late 2020. Since then, as we all know, it's been not as many commuters. He's looking for some additional ways to generate revenue for himself, and has requested a lease amendment that would allow for an ATM and a vending machine. Staff has no objection to that, and we feel that the newsstand is a nice amenity for a train station. Want to make sure that we continue to support it. And so we're recommending the board approve a resolution that would authorize us to execute an amendment of the existing lease to allow the vending machine and ATM within our downtown metro station.
Okay. Do you have any idea what's going to be in the vending machine? I just didn't see that in the materials. Is it just candy,
Can
pop?
you get any information on that, Charles?
I think it's drinks primarily, sodas and things like that. They actually installed it, and it's outside of their space, so we're having them clean that up at the same time. Actually, no, they haven't installed that. They did install the ATM. That's what's installed.
All right, all right. So I won't see it tomorrow.
No, you won't. No. So.
All right, any other questions? Trustee Bertucci.
I will, just to move it along, I'll put a motion on the floor to, as stated by and as written in the recommendation from the staff for approval.
Second.
There's a motion by trustee Bertucci, seconded by trustee Grasse. Any questions or comments from the board? Trustee Dunnington.
Just one quick comment. We don't know exactly what's in the vending machine, but I think it could be really useful to commuters to not, to have other items besides food in there, like chargers or hygiene or medicine kind of items could be really helpful to commuters. So I hope that's something that would be a possibility for.
Certainly
the-
pass that along,
Okay.
trustee Dunnington.
Okay, anything else? Anything from the audience? Seeing none, we have a motion and a second. We need a roll call because it's an ordinance, I think.
Yes, that's correct.
Roll call?
Trustee Bertucci?
Yes.
Trustee Grasse?
Yes.
Trustee Tinaglia?
Yes.
Trustee Baldino?
Yes.
Trustee Shirley?
Yes.
Trustee LaBedz?
Yes.
Trustee Schwingbeck?
Yes.
Trustee Dunnington?
Yes.
President Hayes?
Yes. There's no other new business. Anything from the village manager?
Nothing this evening.
Anything from the board under petitions and communications? Seeing none, then I'd entertain a motion to adjourn
So moved?
by trustee Baldino,
Second.
seconded by trustee LaBedz. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you all for joining us this evening.